Hey, welcome to Automation Notes. Brought to you by DocDigitizer, the Automation Notes podcast is a collection of new and inspiring insights about intelligent automation. We'll discuss with the world's leading intelligent automation minds the most recent trends, success stories, and promising projects in the intelligent automation space. But before we dive into today's show, if you want to take your automation projects to an all-new level, leveraging critical data locked in your documents, photos, or emails, visit DocDigitizer.com and find out how you can deploy the world's most reliable intelligent document processing platform in less than one day. Thanks to its proprietary technology using the most advanced AI breakthroughs in cognitive automation, natural language processing, and a built-in expertly designed human-in-the-loop, DocDigitizer offers the world's first all-inclusive intelligent document processing platform. You can get 100% accurate data from nearly any document with close to zero setup and a full pay-per-use model all into a single API call. Whether you're looking to process a simple invoice, streamline your customer onboarding journey, or get data from your legal contracts, DocDigitizer will be your trusted IDP partner. They also offer unusual features like handwrite support, complex table data extraction, fraud detection, and out-of-the-box integration with UiPath, Blue Prism, Automation Anywhere, and many other automation tools. So stop spending months getting datasets and training models to deploy an IDP tool, and then end up with costly human-in-the-loop data validation on every single document. DocDigitizer offers an all-in-one, fully managed API, making intelligent document processing truly easy. But don't just take my word for it. Take the word of leading global 2,000 organizations, all loving and using DocDigitizer to unlock hyperautomation over complex and unstructured mission-critical processes. Head over to DocDigitizer.com and start your all-inclusive IDP journey. But it is now time for another incredible Automation Notes show.
Hello and welcome to our show. My name is João Fernandes, founder and CEO of DocDigitizer, and I will be your host for today's episode of Automation Notes. Today, we have as our guest Eric from ChoiceWORX. Once again, we bring to the show a vendor because Eric, I'm not sure if you are aware of this, but we bring as guests not only vendors, but also consultancy companies, RPA service companies, and also clients. So it's always a pleasure to have the people that are building the technology on our show. So thank you again for being on our show.
It's a pleasure to be here, Yao, and we're very, very pleased that we can do this.
Awesome. For the people that don't know you and don't know ChoiceWORX, can you give a brief intro about you and what you do at ChoiceWORX?
Sure. I am the Vice President of Business Development at ChoiceWORX. Because we're a small company, I'm able to do a lot of different roles outside of the traditional role of business development. I do lead sales. I lead alliances and partners. I do a lot of work in the marketing area and the product management area. And so what is the product? ChoiceWORX is a company that is trying to automate traditional IT tasks using artificial intelligence. And we allow companies to use digital labor to do things that service technicians and IT technicians traditionally do. And we apply that in two areas. First, in the digital workplace area for your desktops, your computers, we supplement the role of the service desk. But we're here today to talk about RPA. And ChoiceWORX, our Works for RPA management platform, monitors, manages, maintains, and fixes RPA bots in production.
Fantastic. So what you're saying, and this is pretty much connected with companies scaling their RPA initiatives, and with scale, of course, there's a lot of work in terms of RPA operations and maintenance. We touched this topic in the last episodes. I think 2 or 3 times, because it starts to become a real problem for companies. And one of the guests, I think, was Manuel from Roboio, mentioned that at some point the RPA teams start to they don't have time to develop new bots because they are just managing and keeping alive the old bots. So and you mentioned one thing that was very interesting was that as humans, robots get sick and die. So what are the impacts of all of this in an organization?
Well, just as Manuel said, the first thing that happens when a company starts putting the digital workforce in, the people who develop those bots are called upon to fix them. And there's not a lot of bots there. There's no other people who understand what they do. So the developers keep playing back and forth between developing and fixing, and they can never get the new development done, and that slows scaling right there. And we found that in market research that we've done. We found that in conversations with almost every customer. That's the way it started. So what happens next is the company says, oh, we're going to need to have a dedicated support team. And that dedicated support team starts small when they have just a few bots. But what we found again in our market research was that every time a company adds maybe 15 bots, they're going to need to add another person in a linear way. The bots require a couple hundred hours of support every year. It depends on how well the bots are written and exactly what the support teams do. Nobody really knows in this field yet what the specific parameters are. But that team grows as the number of bots grow, and that hinders scaling. And I'm sure Emmanuel talked about that as a problem. If you've created bots to reduce labor dependence and it forces you to add more labor, well, you're self-defeating in a sense. So you've got to find ways to flatten that curve of growing support resources required. And so automation is the next logical step. The interim step, of course, is to find low-cost locations for labor and service delivery. And people certainly are going offshore, particularly to India, or nearshore to Latin America to do this, but they still need more and more people. Those people are becoming more expensive. There's greater churn throughout the industry, and that's not a sustainable long-term solution.
Exactly, and if you start with automation to get some efficiency on your own operations, then you should also deploy automation to manage automation.
Absolutely. And again, when we talk about automating automation management, that's really what we do.
Exactly. Do you think this problem is only emerging today, or is this related with the amount of bots that people are putting into production? Is this a new problem for organizations to handle? Do they know how to handle this kind of challenges?
Well, this is the same problem that companies faced every time a new type of technology emerges. And we saw this when, we've seen this from time beyond. A new technology emerges. People are specialists in supporting that technology. Those become a dedicated team. That work becomes outsourced, and a new kind of a new industry takes shape as a byproduct of different types of technologies. So it's nothing new. It's new for RPA, and the companies that are most far along in adopting RPA are the ones that have seen it first. And some of them have tried to kludge together their own solutions using network monitoring tools and log readers and a variety of other things. But none has been tremendously successful because those are general purpose solutions. And we need solutions that really apply to RPA, understand how bots work, what they're doing when they're executing, things like that, communicating with the control panel orchestrator devices, and a purpose-built solution like ours is really what will emerge in the near future as the kind of a universal type of solution.
And do you think that the maintenance models of traditional software, of traditional enterprise software, may be applicable also to RPA? Because at some point, I'm not sure if the RPA, by its nature of being low code, no code, with the citizen development programs, with this idea of most of the times it starts as shadow IT on the organization. Everybody is doing some bots, everybody is putting bots in production. So do you think that this nature of RPA strongly impacts the maintenance framework that needs to be deployed?
Well, it's defining the nature of the maintenance that needs to be supplied. As companies are identifying what's involved in supporting and operating bots, they're creating this model for how to do it. And a lot of it, as you know, has to do with not just maintenance and support, but change management is an important thing, because bots are written to work in a certain environment. And when any part of that environment changes, that's when a bot fails. A bot isn't necessarily going to fail because the code was poorly written. The code is strong in most cases, and it's getting better, and companies are doing more and more to structure the way bots are written and handled. But you can't manage all of the infrastructure, all of the outside websites that the bots interact with, the host devices, the networks. And when something in those environments change, that's when bots fail, and that's when maintenance and support needs to be called in. So it's a little bit of a hybrid mode of support that's required for bots.
And what is the cost of doing nothing? Because I assume that this, by being this new topic, there are a lot of people that are doing RPA, but they are not doing much on this.
You know, what they're doing is they're finding out that they need more and more and more people. And, the cost is the cost of labor today to support it. And as I said a moment ago, globally, the cost of labor is going up, and the supply, I don't want to say the supply is not there, but you do need people who understand RPA. Those people are in great demand. There's been a lot of churn and turnover in the traditional locations where IT support and RPA support is delivered from. And so those costs are going up, and it's harder and harder to find good people and to keep those good people. So if companies can automate using a platform like ours, their reliance on human labor is dropping, and their ability to support bots is expanding. And that's really how bots are going to scale over time to reach critical mass in the future, so companies can achieve the tremendous ROI savings that they expect and they anticipate.
And I think there is also, besides the cost of labor, there is also a huge opportunity cost there because of the lead times. When a bot dies in production, the amount of impact that can bring to the business is huge. So by having automation on the maintenance and on the operation part, it allows us also to have a lower lead time on fixing stuff.
Absolutely, and that's it's a great point that you raise. A lot of the companies that we have worked with, they're still using notepads and Excel spreadsheets to manage their bots. And I have an example of a Fortune 200 company that we were working with, and we were having trouble with a certain bot, and they were going back to their spreadsheets trying to figure out what's going on. And after a couple of weeks, we found that the bot wasn't even in operation. It hadn't been working, and they didn't know it. We avoid that problem. We help you. We're going to know when a bot is not working at that moment of failure. And not only are we going to know that, we're going to know what failed and why, not just whether the bot fully executed or didn't execute, which is what the orchestrator or the control panel, that they know whether the bot ran through its code. We know whether it did what it was expected. And there are times when our report on an execution actually differs from the control panel or the orchestrator, because we're looking at a broader array of inputs to understand the success or a failure of a given execution.
That was my next question. Was how do the RPA vendors that are nowadays, there's a huge variety of vendors in the market, how they are supplying this? Are they building some kind of native tools embedded in their technology? What is their maturity on these topics?
Well, they're fairly immature today, and they're recognizing some of the problems, but not all of them. And again, their world is limited to their bots. And so, as we said before, bot failures aren't always when the bot code goes bad or something happens in the bot itself. Most of the failures that are seen have to do with the infrastructure and the what we call dependencies that the bots run on. They really don't understand the dependencies of the bots that their clients build. So they don't see that while we do. The other thing is this: more and more of the companies using bots are using more than one vendor's bots. And especially now with the growth and emergence of Power Automate in the market has obviously been dominated by UiPath, Automation Anywhere, and Blue Prism, the big three. Now Microsoft is a fourth. And as you said earlier, a lot of the decisions are made not centrally by the IT organization about what bot to use, but different business units choose different bots. So probably a majority of companies that are using bots today are using bots from more than one vendor. And that means they have to train people on multiple vendors' technologies. Our solution allows you to see the bots from the big three, from Power Automate, on one dashboard in a consistent interface and with consistent methods for solving problems. So the vendors are trying to add things like self-healing to their individual bots. That's great and that's important, but they're not looking at the holistic environment of the digital transformation, the digital workforce, which expands across bot vendors, across automation types, and really requires a single point of administration and management, which is our view for the future.
You touch a very interesting topic, that is multi-vendor strategy for RPA. That was in fact one of the main topics when we talked in one of the last episodes with Ali from OpenBots, that also mentioned that. Because at some point, if you are buying every single piece of the puzzle to the same vendor, the amount of lock-in that you have is huge, which raises a lot of risks. And often with the maturity of these kind of implementations, companies are seeing that and bringing to the table multi vendors, and not only for the RPA layer, but also for this kind of very specialized features that they need to support. The same happens with IDP and process mining. So having this toolkit of tools, not depending on a single vendor, I think is very important, and it will be much more important in the future as companies grow. So if you could sum up what you guys bring to the table compared to these standard tools in 2 or 3 tweets, what was
our platform allows a company to automate activities such as monitoring of the bots. Once you have monitored the bots, you see that events occur. You want to notify the bot owner or the manager, different people. And based on different situations, you might want different people to be notified. We have a very robust notification system that allows people to choose which notifications they get, and allows different notifications to be sent to different people. So notification is important. But with that notification, we also provide kind of a roadmap to where the problem is. So we've identified a problem. There was a problem. Here's what it was. We're going to give you the directions on where to go to fix it. Not necessarily how to fix it, but where to go to find it. And again, that could be something that in the past took weeks and weeks and took developers away from developing. Now those developers are able to stay doing what they're doing to build the next generation of bots, while the support team can do the value-added work of really fixing the problem, because we've identified a failure, we've notified the right people, we've pointed them in the direction of where the trouble is, and we let them go to work. Now, the other thing that we do is, in many cases, we're able to remediate those problems immediately using artificial intelligence and knowledge that we've built up over time, so that we get those bots back to service faster. We make them more available and more reliable. And all of that is part of our package. And then with that all, because it's digitized, we're gathering information all the way through the process about what's going on in the RPA environment, across the bots in a consistent manner, across bots, across business units, across vendors, so that the centers of excellence in a company, in an enterprise, or the service provider who's providing those services, they have much more information with which to use to manage the overall environment.
And do you work with, I assume you mentioned that you work across different vendors, but what kind of RPA solutions do you work with currently?
Well, anything that RPA can do, we can monitor with, again, at this point, we are supporting UiPath, Automation Anywhere, Blue Prism, and in the very, very near future, Power Automate. So the big four. We are able to add others over time as our customers require it. We've talked about a variety. I won't mention other vendors. I don't want to endorse or anyone else there, but we can add a new vendor in as little as a month to be able to do the exact same things we do with the big three, big four, and really any platform, any solution that runs in a Windows environment, whether it's IDP or data analytics or RPA, is a potential tool that we can monitor as we move forward into whether it's hyper automation or a broader digital transformation, whatever buzzwords you want to use. Those are That's the way of the future. Most of these applications and services run on a Windows platform. If they run on Windows, we have the ability to monitor them.
So based on your answer, I'm assuming that you don't consider the RPA providers a competitor, right?
No, they're really partners. They're partners so much that, for example, UiPath has our platform works for RPA management in their biggest customer lab where they show their tools to the customers. And if there's a situation where the customer wants to talk about how do we improve support, how do we scale faster, they have the opportunity to show them our platform. So that's a partnership, not a competition by any means. We really think that our tool helps companies scale faster. And if they're able to scale faster, they can invest in more bots, and the bot vendors are our friends for that reason.
Exactly. So guide me through a typical implementation of ChoiceWORX, and what is the person that you sell to? What are the steps?
Yep.
Can you guide me through a typical implementation?
Sure. There's a traditional inquiry. It can come via the web. It can come on our website. It can come as a result of a conversation like we're having here. And we will typically talk with a customer to understand their RPA environment. If they're not using one of the bot vendors that we support, that's an easy conversation to have, that right now we can't help you, but if you'd like, we'd look at your vendor. But if they're using vendors that we support, the next step would certainly be a demonstration. The demonstrations lead to trials or proofs of concept. They usually last about a month. The company gets to experience with their own bots what works for RPA management can do for them. They see the monitoring, the troubleshooting, the notifications, the remediations, and they see the savings that apply across the board to the way that they're managing our RPA today. And the implementation, very pleased to say that everyone's always surprised at how quick and easy it is for us to get up and running, and how quickly would they start seeing results. The key to our platform is what we call a support bot, and that support bot is installed on the RPA host devices of the user. And as long as the biggest obstacle we have is getting the info security people to accept our software on their platform to talk with our cloud. And we've never been kicked out because of that, but it takes time to convince security people often that we are secure, that the encryption is good, the standards are good, the SOC 2 compliance is there, all of that. That's the biggest obstacle. Once we load a bot, connect it to our cloud, we're up and running, and we're fixing stuff immediately.
Fantastic. So, outlooking the future, and this is like the question that I always make to our guests. Looking at intelligent automation 5 years from now, how do you see the space?
Well, I think it will be much more mature than it is today. It's, as I say, it's getting better. Right now, people talk about bots as intelligent automation. We might do better calling it unintelligent automation because bots have no intelligence. Bots are only as good as the programming that was done to get them going. In the future, we'll see more and more intelligent automation. And in many more places of inside companies. And what that will mean is that intelligent automation and automation in general still is going to require management. every time you have a worker, you need a supervisor. You need that supervisor to know if the person is doing the right job, is doing the work as expected, the volume of the work, the timing of the work. And RPA and digital work in any form is the same thing. We have to know, we have to be able to measure it, we have to know it's working, and we need to know that in real time. And automation is the answer to that. And automation is an enabler to the scaling of the digital journey, digital transformation. It won't reach its potential without there being a layer of management involved, and that management needs to be automated.
Exactly. I always like to ask our guests to recommend a book, podcast, or a person to follow, so our audience can learn more about intelligent automation. So what are your suggestions?
Well, one of the first suggestions is someone who taught me a lot about RPA many years ago, and that's Ian Barkin. And Ian had been with Symphony Ventures. Symphony Ventures was acquired, went through some transformations with Sykes. Ian came out as one of the real leading experts in the future of work. He's doing work with Bain Consulting now, but he's prolific on LinkedIn, and everything he talks about is very, very insightful and knowledgeable. He's someone that I watch and listen to greatly. I also would recommend the Institute for Research Robotic Process Automation, RPA. They're getting more and more into some substantive topics and some knowledge leadership, the thought leadership. Pascal Bornet there is doing a real good job of staying on the edge of technology in the technology and process in RPA. And I'd also recommend one analyst in one analyst group, Horses for Sources, Phil First's group. They are always out on the edge of what's going on. They see it and they report on it quite well.
Fantastic suggestions. I follow the three, and I can confirm that they are amazing and with a lot of juicy content in LinkedIn and on their blogs. So what is next for you and ChoiceWORX? And how can our audience reach out to you?
Well, we think that the area of automation management is just at an early stage, and we're working with our clients to find those areas where we can have the greatest impact on their operations, and we're working closely with clients along those ways to improve our product, to allow them to improve their delivery of services. And by the way, our clients are both enterprises that run RPA. Maybe they have centers of excellence or business units with a good number of bots. So we work with them. We work with service providers, particularly those who have managed RPA services. They support multiple workforces for multiple clients. And we're working with them to understand how their business is going to evolve and how our management platform can help them stay in the forefront of the industry, differentiate their product and services, and help them be more successful. So we're out there looking at those things. I think what you will see from us is, as we expand the number of bot vendors we work with, expand the types of things that we can monitor and remediate, we will go from RPA to ancillary or adjacent types of applications, so that this really becomes the center of automation management.
Fantastic. Eric, hosting this episode was really a pleasure to me. We have been in touch for quite some time. We both love sales and and creating new ways of reaching the market. And we share some of the challenges because both markets, the IDP market and your market, is yet not yet mature. So there's a lot of challenge in educating the market, and that is one of the reasons why we created this podcast, is also to raise this awareness, to raise this maturity, and hopefully to bring new people and new ideas and making them available for a wider audience. Yeah. So it's always refreshing talking with you, and I thank you very much thank you again for taking the time to meet and to be on our show.
Well, thank you for having me. This time has flown, and if people want to continue the conversation, they can reach me via LinkedIn or Twitter. Our website, www.choiceworx.com. Drop a note to info@choiceworx.com. It'll get to me. If anyone wants to learn more about the specific platform, we're happy to talk, demonstrate, etc. This has been great, and I really appreciate your inviting me to join you.
Fantastic. I've been your host, João Fernandes, and this has been Automation Notes. See you next time.
Wow, what a fantastic show. So many incredible takeaways. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to stay updated with the most recent intelligent automation trends, success stories, and promising projects, please subscribe to Automation Notes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, and YouTube. You can find the links in the subscription. We release a new episode every 2 weeks. But before we leave you today, if you want to take your automation projects to an all-new level, leveraging critical data locked in your documents, photos, or emails, visit DocDigitizer.com. and find out how you can deploy the world's most reliable intelligent document processing platform in less than 1 day. You can get 100% accurate data from nearly any document with close to zero setup and a full pay-per-use model all into a single API call. Whether you're looking to process a simple invoice, streamline your customer onboarding journey, or get data from your legal contracts, DocDigitizer will be your trusted IDP partner. DocDigitizer offers an all-in-one, fully managed API, making intelligent document processing truly easy. But don't just take my word for it. Take the word of leading global 2,000 organizations, all loving and using DocDigitizer to unlock hyper-automation over complex and unstructured mission-critical processes. DocDigitizer is helping companies across multiple industries to reach their full potential through data by empowering their digital transformation, driving operational efficiency and human productivity, unlocking the power of their data.